and they've been very successful.
Yeah, I understand that Charlie has to go back to Canada to face the court.
I didn't know that, actually. I thought he was released.
Oh, he has been released. I believe he has to go back.
He wants to fight, he wants to. He's got himself a lawyer, and I haven't had an update in more than a week, so things might have changed, but he wants to proceed against them for sort of unlawful arrest or whatever the equivalent is he's going for. So I guess he's looking to take the battle back to them, but I don't know. To me, it just seems like a lot of energy, and it might not get anywhere. I don't know. I mean, good luck to him.
But the man has to try, and he has to follow his heart. So we're all with you, Charlie. If you're there.
Good luck, mate.
Yeah. Well, so am I. But I feel that he will come up against the judiciary that is effectively corrupt, and will not follow the letter of the law, but will instead side with the powers that be.
Well, and after all, this is Canada, one of the, they're actually ahead of the UK in terms of events unfolding.
A lot of the Americans are saying they're the worst. The Canadian situation is much worse than in America. Now, going on from this situation at Toronto, we've got many reports of some of the police officers and civil officers that were shipped in for this event. Some of them were actually crying, reports of these people crying because of what they had to do to these prisoners, strip searching them, leaving them without food and drink. These people knew they were doing wrong, some of them, and they were crying, as well as ones that were absolutely loving it. Some of them were loving it, and some of them were crying. So that situation is going to play out a little bit more as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing some reactions from the guys in the forces who are sort of, to use the phrase again, waking up.
Well, it shows you which ones are the psychopaths and which ones are the human beings, doesn't it?
Are you still there, Theo?
I'm still here.
Yeah, sorry, I just thought I heard a click then. How do you feel... Well, what personal philosophy do you adopt when you're taking on board all of this information? I mean, for me, personally, it does come down to this thing called love. I think that's the only approach to it. Keep love in your heart, and, this is why I tend not to attack people, unless it's in self-defense. But this has to be done with love, as far as I'm concerned. There is a revolution taking place, and more people are joining it. You got any thoughts on perhaps this more spiritual side?
Well, I agree with you that violence or anger is not an answer to violence and anger, because all you're going to do is make it worse. If you look at people like Gandhi, for instance, and Nelson Mandela, I suppose, neither of those men were perfect in every way, but nevertheless they were the probably best examples we've had on this planet in recent times of people who could make a difference by passive resistance. I understand that Nelson Mandela wasn't always, capable of passive resistance, but certainly in his later years he used that method. That's an unmovable force. When you get to that point where you are right and you are calm and you are polite and you are not going to take no for an answer, and you're not allowing people to shut you down, you will maybe succeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Theo, we're going to draw the show to a close and get you to introduce your last song in a minute. Is there anything you'd like to add? You're talking to a number of nations here. Anything that you would like to say, or perhaps to bring this to a satisfactory conclusion for yourself?
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me on.
Thank you so much for coming.
I hope that you will join me in doing what you feel is right, and searching and questioning and finding out what's really happening on this planet, because we're only here for a while. Whether we come back or not, that's another subject for another show maybe, but we have a purpose, and for Christ's sake, don't watch television and shit. Find follow your purpose. Find out what your purpose is and find out what the hell's going on, because that's why you're here, isn't it? Surely that's why I'm here. Right? So
that was going to be my final question to you. What would your message be to encourage people out there? What would you like to see them doing, physically doing? What would you like to see people actually physically doing?
Well, be true to yourself. If something that you come across is purely wrong and immoral, then you have to acknowledge that it's wrong and immoral. And if there's anything you can do that doesn't involve you in something that's criminal or violent to fix that thing, then I think you have to do that. You have to bite the bullet. You have to say, I'm not prepared to do this, because all it takes for evil to prosper is for good men to do nothing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
Theo, I think looking at your last song, which I'm going to ask you to introduce now, it's almost perfect to end with. So would you like to give a few words about this and then introduce it?
This is a film written by Eric Idle, who's one of the Monty Python team, and it is played at the end of the film Life of Brian, where Graham Chapman is playing the character Brian Cohen. He's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy, and he's on the cross with several others, including several other Brians at that time.
And he has got a very big nose.
Yes, indeed he has. So this is Always Look on the Bright Side of Life.
Excellent. Well, before we play that track, thanks a lot for coming on, Theo.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot to our listeners from me and Mark. Guys, I really encourage you to listen to the same channel every night of the week. There's some great shows and podcasts that have already been. Definitely try and support this. There's a lot of action going on behind the guys who run these shows. Get involved. Ask questions to the hosts. Check us out on northeasttruth.com.
Check out Theo Chalmers.
Excellent.
He's got lots of interesting shows. They're all there. Go have a look.
Thanks a lot, folks.
Thank you, Theo. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Good night.